Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Craig Burley and Stevie Nicol. Only one place to start today's show, and that's at Anfield, where it looked like Liverpool were going to drop more points early on in the season. All but for a Fabio Carvalho late winner in the 98th minute, which gave Jurgen Klopp's side all 3 points. And more on this, let's welcome in, shall we? Julien Laurent and Shaka Hislop. Steve, I've got to start with you. You look at that. What do you make of those stats?
Do you know, it's really weird. I'm looking at those stats, 72%, 500 and something passes, 23 shots, but yet I feel as though Liverpool got out of jail.
Right.
You know, they may have had all the possession, but they really didn't do anything with it. I mean, I don't remember a chance in the game where I'm saying, I can't believe whoever it may have been didn't score. I can't believe it. You know, six on goal, and I don't remember saying, Pope, what an incredible save.
Yeah.
It is it's just, I'm astounded.
Pope didn't have to do that much, really, Craig. Throughout the 90 minutes, as Stevie says.
I mean, they huffed and puffed, but without... You couldn't sit here and say they missed 6 great open goals, right? It just didn't happen. They had lots of good possession, but there's a couple of ingredients missing. One of them's at the back, because there was another poor defending. I mean, the ball from Alexander-Arnold wasn't great, but you still can defend it. Mm-hmm. Van Dijk goes out to the left-hand side, Fabinho drops in, and between them they don't follow the runner, he steps out. And then up front it's sort of huffing and puffing, and there's not a huge threat, it seems, from the middle of the park. You know, Elliott was, got himself in some great positions as a youngster. But I honestly think Klopp's got to calm down. I know he wears his heart on his sleeve, but he talked about time wasting, in his press conference 24 hours before the game.
He's searching though, isn't he?
Teams are coming to Anfield, they're going to try everything, a bit like going to City.
Yes.
They're going to try everything, he's got to accept that. But he's on the touchline, he's getting involved, he's berating officials more than ever. My God, when Isak scored that brilliant second goal that was chopped off for offside by I don't know, half a foot. Yep. He was before it was chopped off. Klopp was down the touchline after the assistant for not putting the flag up, but it was so tight he had to leave it, and it just seems he's got everything in his mind at the moment. Everything's against him in a sense that his team's not quite performing well as he would like, and he's got the opposing managers, everybody's wasting time, and the referees, and get your flag up, and I think somehow that's been portrayed in his team a little bit.
That tells you how it's not just us when we're talking about how Liverpool are struggling.
Right.
Because all the actions of Klopp are of his team struggling. He is shouting, screaming, trying to come up with anything other than turn round and blame his players. That's what you're seeing right now. A guy who's not blaming his players, but blaming every other thing possible.
Does the manner of this victory then change things going forward?
100%.
It's the spark. Obviously, they've got the Merseyside derby this weekend.
And they're getting Nunez back as well. It takes something like this to kickstart any team. And obviously this, hopefully, is what kickstarts Liverpool. But I guess they'll have some players coming back, and particularly Nunez up front, because up front it's flat. You talk about missing Nunez big time. Firmino, yes, got his goal, but I thought again he was horrible. Diaz, when he gets the ball, everybody gets on the edge of the seat.
Yeah.
But other than that incredible goal last week, there's not been too much finishing on it, and Mo Salah's not at his best at all. So, yeah, absolutely, this could kickstart.
I mean, there was a little fracas at the end, but I don't know about you, anybody here. I don't have a problem with the goal in the 98th minute.
Well, no, it was time wasting that went on.
Yeah, because just and also, Newcastle didn't think so.
Yeah.
But also at the end, Nick Pope went down just prior to that goal going in for a cross to the back post that he took quite cleanly. I didn't see much contact. If any, there was 2 players getting themselves sorted for cramp. He went down and stayed down. So all that was added on. So maybe Newcastle have got some reservations about the time added on, but it's 5 minimum, and I thought that was just that the referee allowed that call not to be taken.
When it was 1-1, there was a lot of expletive-laden shouting at the television, including, why are we even watching, why are we even talking about title race in Liverpool? They're not in it. Has this result changed your mind?
Why are you watching a game with him?
I like watching it with him. It's great entertainment.
Well, my exact words to you were, because at the time we were talking, it was 1-1. It was looking as if it was done.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, right,
Giving up.
Can we? If we turned around at the start of the season and Liverpool said, you know what, City, don't worry about it. We'll give you 7 points at the start and we'll be okay. You would have went, what? And that's what it was staring Liverpool in the face, was a 7-point gap after 5 games. Now it's 5. That's huge.
Right. Okay.
That's 1 game and 1 draw.
Okay.
If you look at it in those terms, if you look at it in 7 points, it's wow. If you look at it in the terms of one game and a draw, it sort of changes the balance of what you're thinking.
Don't get too deep in the numbers. You're going to confuse yourself here.
Shaka, from a Newcastle perspective, that was a tough ending.
It really was, but even from a Newcastle perspective, I didn't have any problem with the timing of the goal either. Just kind of giving some of the time wasting and Pope going down. That's fair, and I'm trying to be as neutral as I can here. As far as Liverpool goes, and from what the boys are saying about Klopp, so much of it reminds me of 2021, when it was COVID affected, but Liverpool certainly weren't playing well. Klopp was coming out with these really odd excuses that didn't seem to make an awful lot of sense. Later on that season, we come to find out that his mother was ill and eventually passed. So you had to wonder, or you had to accept it and explain it away as that. This, again, feels equally weird in terms of performance and Klopp's reaction. You get all 3 points. But as I watch this game, and Stevie's right about Liverpool and the numbers, if Sam Maximan was on the pitch today for Newcastle, you couldn't help but think that this could have been so much worse, and Newcastle could have been out of sight with that added pace down the left-hand side. And that's no slight on Fraser. Sam Maximan is just that kind of an untouchable player, especially up against Trent Alexander-Arnold. So Liverpool, all in all, get lucky in a number of ways, but not necessarily so in the timing of the goal.
Jules, the transfer window closes, of course, on Thursday. Will Liverpool do any business between now and then?
Maybe, yeah. They're still looking for a midfielder, although I think Harvey Elliott's performance tonight will reassure Jurgen Klopp in a way. Maybe they need to be reassured, but I think he can do something very interesting this season. However, in terms of numbers, they've got enough midfielders, of course, but he needs people who will stay fit. For example, he needs something maybe a bit different than what he's been having for the last 3 years. So they're looking. It might be too late now, and they might not be able to do someone even just a body in a way. They don't need to go and look for Jude Bellingham or people like that. Even just a body might just be too short of time to do something like that.
Do you agree, Stevie? Get a body in the next 24 hours, just something fresh?
I don't know about that.
No?
No. Not a body.
Right.
You're going to sign somebody, sign a player. Get somebody in who's going to make a mark, who's going to actually play, who's going to either start or is going to push somebody. But not a body. No.
Meanwhile, Manchester City's fine start to the season continued with Erling Haaland doing rather well again. Back-to-back hat-tricks for the Norwegian international. This game was done and dusted pretty much before it started. City superior to Forest, as you would expect, everywhere on the pitch. And Haaland, it's a little bit men against boys, Craig, when he's playing.
It's brute strength and and good finishing and good supply. Basically, this just typified me, because Joe Worrell, although he's coming up from the Championship, was one. I think he might have been Championship Player of the Year last year. Terrific defender at that level, and that was a sort of welcome to the Premier League.
Yeah.
Obviously a big slice of luck here, but he was involved in the move. But you just look at the size of him. Not that that's anything new to us. And he's above almost as up at the crossbar here. Look, I'm not telling you anything that nobody doesn't know. He's a big brute of a lad.
Yeah.
He scores goals.
Oh, yeah.
He's very strong. Oh, and by the way, he's got a lot of people that are going to give him a lot of chances. And it's just up to him to take them. And unfortunately, when you're playing recently promoted teams that have signed as many players as Forest have, and they're all sort of introducing themselves to each other, he had a field day.
He certainly did. Kevin De Bruyne didn't start this game. It didn't matter. He come on in the second half. You take a look, this is the best start ever for a striker in the Premier League, Stevie. 9 goals in 5 games.
Right,
It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny.
I think it's 72. I think that's
Craig's saying there about a team that's just came up. don't care who's playing against in the Premier League right now. I don't see anybody handle him, including Van Dijk.
Right.
I just don't see it.
Is he smashing that?
You and I
Is he
were
smashing the
laughing.
34 goals?
Poor. Well, he's got what? 7? 9?
9.
He's got 9 goals.
7, 8, 9.
He's already got 9 goals.
Yes.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
I mean, aye.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I were laughing. We're watching the game, and as he put his second one in, you and I were laughing, and we were both laughing at the same thing.
Yeah.
This was like he's playing against schoolboys,
right?
And he's talking about Waddle. Waddle's a big, strong boy, by the way. He made him look like
I thought he was.
He thought he was, aye, but he made him look like just get out my road.
How do you stop him?
You can't.
Well, that's a bit of a problem.
Well, you can't. You stop the supply.
Yeah, you can-
Have you stopped the supply?
Yeah,
But
right.
good luck with that.
Right.
So you can stop him if he's playing in a poorer team.
Yeah.
But it's just difficult, and you know, if you try and fight him, he'll outmuscle you, and then you've got to try and find a different way. I can't wait till they play. I can't wait till him and Martinez play. We need to get Robbo back on. He's going to get really angry. But the answer to your question, I think, would be twofold. It will depend if anybody, Liverpool, Arsenal, anybody, Chelsea, whoever it is, Tottenham, put up a title fight. If they put up a title fight, if somebody pushes City, he'll have to play.
Right.
If nobody's pushing City come Christmas, January time, and the Champions League after the World Cup, blah, 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 and he might start having to rest them, or not having to, he might decide to rotate and rest, and those kind of records will be scuppered a little bit. So if there's a title fight, he plays, he scores. If there's not, he might find himself getting a little rest now.
You've got to think it's going to be injury that's going to be his biggest problem.
Right.
Because there doesn't seem to be any other reason why he's not going to be lights out.
Jules, the Community Shield seems a long time away now, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's hard to believe that some people doubted him, really doubted Haaland, doubted the amount of goals that he could score. Yeah, it took a little bit of time to adapt. Remember that game, I think it was Bournemouth, where he had only 2 passes in that game. There was the assist for Gundogan goal, only 8 touches or something like that, but he still had an impact on the game with his running, with his runs, with the movement, all of that. And now that he gets in the flow of it, and that he's pretty much integrated to that team and the way they play, it's remarkable to watch, really. And even there's the great goal that the boys mentioned, the first one, but even when he's got even the luck now, like on the second goal where he bounces off and then he's straight into his path and he just has to tap in with his right foot. It's incredible that at the moment just everything goes his way. On top of the talent, he also has that little bit of luck that those kind of strikers usually get, especially when they're in that kind of mood.
Years ago, when you signed really good players, it was like, right, this is just going to be fun. We'll make this work. We're a great addition to your squad. Now we live in a world where there are so many experts out there that everybody's going, oh, right, we know he's really good, but he doesn't quite fit in this system and all that sort of. And Pete, you just bang your head in the wall and go, shut up, shut up. You know, sitting in a basement typing away, going, this is not quite going to work. Good people make it work. He's an all-round player. He can link up, he can hold. Yeah, he can get better. He can link up, he can hold up, he can run the channels. He scores goals where he has to run in behind if you leave space because he's fast, and they can all obviously deliver early balls into the box now, which they didn't have. Well, they've always had the chance of doing it, but it used to have to be a low-driven ball in, or because they didn't have any physicality. Now, and Liverpool, similar, if they can get Núñez on the pitch and get him rolling, that's something similar, maybe not quite at that standard, obviously, but that gives them another opportunity to maybe put some earlier balls for his physicality, and it just gives teams options. None of this, it's just not, it just doesn't fit in the system, the modern game system. It's absolute nonsense.
Meanwhile, of course, City aren't top of the table. That remains Arsenal as they continued their perfect start to the campaign.
Was he shouting at that as well?
2-1 victory over Villa. He was more preoccupied with what's going on at Liverpool.
Trust me, did he say this? Arsenal have not played anybody yet. Did he say that?
No, he didn't.
Thank you.
He's saving it for the show.
Yeah, thank you, Dan, for telling the truth.
No, he didn't.
It's a nice change.
Exactly. We still haven't seen that $50 yet, but it is going to be a very nice feeling. Because as it stands, Stevie,
you got to pass it over in the show.
They look good for top 4.
Okay. All right. If we're talking about right now,
right,
they're playing as well as other than Man City,
Yep.
they're probably playing better than anybody else.
Get the date. Date's the date.
Consistently.
August 31st.
That's it.
2022.
Because obviously, why you got yourself into trouble was after the Palace game. You said that you didn't see any improvements, despite the fact they went there
Got
2-0.
himself in trouble.
I tell you what, you're going to keep banging this old drum that's complete lies.
I've got the clip, Steve. You did say that. I said, what improvement have you seen from Arsenal? And you went, none. So what surely has got to be a good feeling for Arsenal fans is that when Villa equalise, Martinelli gets that winner quickly, as opposed to maybe last season where they wouldn't be able to get over the line like that.
Oh, sorry. All right, we'll just say the better then. All right, the better. Is that what you want?
Okay, that's fine. That's all right for you to say that.
I mean, you were a school teacher there, making it simple for the kids just to have a one-word answer. Yes.
Okay, all right, perfect.
Right, listen, have a breath. Have a think what you're going to say to him. He's winding you up.
I tell you what, though, I bet they could play Aston Villa every week.
Say again?
I bet they wish they could play Aston Villa every week.
Yep.
I thought, I have to say,
They were awful.
they were bad, but Arsenal, not just the addition of the players, when obviously Zinchenko out, Partey out, El Neni out, mainly Partey and Zinchenko.
Yeah.
But some of the football, all right, and we can look at Villa and blah, blah, blah. Some of the football they played was really, really good, particularly in the first half. And obviously now they've got a clinical guy up front, or that's now that he's been given his head at Arsenal as the main man, Gabriel Jesus, and he's looked good, and the surrounding cast have fitted in well. So yeah, there are bigger tests to come, but it's not just the result. They've played some really nice stuff, and although the scoreline was tight, it wasn't close.
With your Arsenal ways, Jules, how's this all going to go wrong?
No, it can always go wrong, and the boys are right. We will see more, and we will learn more about that team when they play United on Sunday, for example, and then they will have Spurs 2 weeks later, and then they will play City and Liverpool, and etc., etc. But you don't finish top 4 by beating every single other top 4 teams. Yeah, it can help, but you also finish top 4 by winning those games that you should be winning. And I think you take every point that you can. You always have to be what's in front of you anyway. But this is certainly positive, like Craig said, about the movement, about what they do with the ball, about what they do out of possession as well, and the way they counter press and the way they recover the ball really quickly. Aston Villa are not very good. Fulham are better, and Fulham were better last weekend, but Aston Villa are not very good. Gerrard is under massive pressure. But you shot yourself in the foot once more, like for the Mitrovic goal at the weekend, by allowing the opposition to score a goal like this that should not be happening. But yeah, you show your character by the way you responded. And again, you responded very quickly after a goal, like against Leicester, like against Fulham, and again tonight, which is also a positive.
Should Martinez have done better, Shaq?
Yes. Given not just by usual standards in this Premier League, but Martinez has been simply outstanding for Villa ever since he was outstanding for Arsenal when he was there as well. I expected more of him, and yeah, by his standards, he made an absolute mess of it.
Shaq, why would you have any? Would you be in goal with nobody on a post from a set piece?
This is from the Villa equaliser.
Is that what you're talking about?
No.
I'd prefer. I'd prefer not to. I like to have people on my post. Either they start there, or if the ball. One season we played. I think it was with West Ham. We played where the guy in their post stood in the space, and if it went over his head, he came back inside the post. But at no point did at any point in my career did I not have at the very least one person on my post.
Do you have a problem with this goal at all, Shaq?
No, I don't.
What goal do you ask him about?
The Martinelli winner.
Oh, sorry, I missed it. I thought you said...
That's all right. That's okay.
Sorry, I was...
That's all right. Busy day.
Nobody puts him in the post now anyway.
Right.
Well, at least...
I still don't... And that's another example.
Somebody on one.
Why they should. They've got so many bodies in the box doing nothing anyway. Why wouldn't you put somebody on the post? But, hey...
Meanwhile, elsewhere today, West Ham against Spurs finished 1 apiece. Shaq, your former team much improved after what was a poor start to this game.
It really was, and I couldn't understand what David Moyes and West Ham were trying to do in the first 45. It seemed like they were more worried about Spurs counter-attack than them playing any kind of football at all. So they would drop off, and then every now and then they would press high up, and it just seemed weird. And then as it happened, Declan Rice steps up, tries to build an attack, he gives the ball away, and West Ham go behind thanks to what else but a Spurs counter-attack. in the second half, West Ham just played their game. Press Spurs higher up. Were far more purposeful, not really, or more worried about their own game than Spurs is, and got their just rewards. And in the end, can come off the field feeling that they dropped 2 points. There was one that just went across the face of goal right at the very death. They had other chances as well. So West Ham, I think their uncertain start has has had an effect on their confidence, and you're not seeing that kind of self-belief that you saw all of last season. Hopefully this second half performance can change that.
It was kind of one half apiece in this game, wasn't it, Jules?
Yeah, it was. I agree with Shaq. I think it's a very good summary of the game that we saw. And I mean, maybe the fact that West Ham started so badly the season that also played in their mind in the sense that they thought, if we attack from the beginning, they're going to hit us on the counter. We could be 2 goals down after 15 minutes, and then the game is pretty much over. So this is maybe the explanation why they were so cautious, but it was counterproductive very clearly. Second half was much better. Lucas Paqueta should make a big difference in this team, really, in terms of creativity, retaining the ball, and just having the ball. But like we said before, it's a huge signing for them. He's a wonderful player, but they also need to play to his strength. Again, that first half with Paqueta in your team is pointless. He will be completely useless for you. The second half is far more the spirit that you should have and the mindset with a player like Paqueta on the pitch for you, for example. So certainly the second half, far more encouraging than anything we've seen so far this season from West Ham.
I actually found it a little strange halfway through the first half, because I'm thinking to myself, this looks like Tottenham are going forward here.
Right.
Which is just not what they like to do, particularly away from home. And like Xhaka, eventually I figured out that West Ham were just sitting on the edge of their box, because it was just so unlike Spurs in a derby, a London derby, to go away and actually be pushing forward. But obviously we found out. We found out the second half what they're all about, really.
So another point for West Ham after a slow start to the season. Just taking a look at how the bottom of the table stands after today's game. We saw also Bournemouth with a 0-0 draw against Wolves. Don't think anyone watched that. Leicester, bottom, of course, they're in action on Thursday against Manchester United. And for more reaction as to what happened today in the Premier League and beyond, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe. PSG then bouncing back after dropping those points against Monaco at the weekend to keep them top of the table with that 3-0 win. Jules, job done, I suppose, after that disappointment against Monaco.
Yeah, that's right, with a different team, some new players, rotation from Galtier, different formation as well, because they played with the back four this time for the first time this season. It took them a bit of time to get into the game, and Toulouse, who have a young team, lack experience, of course, but have a lot of energy, a lot of intensity, and created some problems in the first few minutes. Could even have scored a goal at 0-0. And after that, I think PSG just settled in, and that front three again, as we saw in the first goal, but through the game, they could have and should have scored more goals. Dupé in goal was really good for Toulouse, but apart from that little scare at the beginning, it was a very convincing and positive win for PSG. And again, for Toulouse, I think despite the defeat, there was also a lot of encouragement, because they played really well at 0-0, and for those young kids, it'll be a great learning curve from that game against PSG.
Neymar on the score sheet once again, Jules. This is something that you've talked about before on the show, the possibility of Neymar leaving PSG that was offered to some clubs in the summer, Chelsea being one of them. Is there any chance we could see the Brazilian go to the Premier League in the next 24 hours?
No, I don't think so now. I think it's too late, in the sense that PSG would obviously have to replace him unless they already have a plan in place, which might be possible. I cannot see a deal like that. It's quite complicated as well, considering the length of the contract still remaining for Neymar in Paris. You can just imagine how many people would be involved on that deal, starting with Pini Zahavi and Neymar Senior, of course. I think 24 hours is too short. I could see why Chelsea would want a creative player, especially considering all the injuries that they have right now. But again, it's hard to do Neymar in 24 hours. And right now, if you're PSG, unless again you've got the perfect replacement for him, which I'm not sure they do, it's hard to let him go, because he's been their best player so far this season. It's pretty easy. There's not even a debate, I think. So I can't see it happening.
Not happening.
No.
No chance. Not a chance. And anyway, he's got a TV, hasn't he?
He does have a TV, I believe, yes.
I presume he's watched Chelsea then as well.
Yes.
So no, would be in no hurry to land at Stamford Bridge at the moment in the state they're in. Even with the issues and stuff and the tantrums.
Right.
It's in a football parlance with the World Cup coming up. It's going pretty well.
Yeah, most definitely. Meanwhile, we discussed this a lot over the last recent weeks. Fofana, a done deal, making that move from Leicester to Chelsea. Signed a 7-year deal. Nice contract for him there. Meanwhile, of course, we've discussed the possibility of Chelsea looking to bolster their attack with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, of course, at Barcelona. Horrible situation for him this week, where a gang of robbers burst into his house. They broke his jaw. Fortunately, he tweeted saying that he's okay. His family are okay. Does this have any effect on this deal going forward, Jules?
Well, I think the effect that this could have is that he would want to get out of Barcelona even quicker than before. To be fair, despite on top of the fact that he's not going to play much because Lewandowski will be the number one starter. That was obviously shocking. As we've been saying, there's still no agreement between Chelsea and Barcelona. The latest offer from Chelsea was 15 million euros plus Marcos Alonso as part of the deal. And we've said even if Jules Koundé is now registered, Barcelona wanted more money than the 15 million that Chelsea have always really offered. So this one, 24 hours to go, I still think they can find an agreement that would actually suit everyone, because it's in nobody's interest that this deal doesn't happen. Chelsea needs a striker, Aubameyang needs to move, and Barcelona needs some money. So this one should happen. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet, but now with 24 hours to go, and the clock really ticking, I think they can find an agreement. Otherwise, I think nobody would really be happy if he ended up staying at Barcelona and no striker arrived at Chelsea.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it makes sense for all parties.
Yeah.
They need the money. Mm-hmm. Chelsea clearly, and have done for a while, need somebody that can finish short term, a year or two, till they solve it long term. And he needs to play. Well, he doesn't need to play, but I'm sure he wants to play.
Yeah.
And just these incidents, with players and houses getting broken into, and families, just horrendous for people, and it just puts you in a bad place, and you try to do everything at once, and maybe transfers are coming up, you're moving families, and you've got to deal with. It's a lot to deal with in a short space of time. But from a football sense, yeah, it does make sense. Even if it's not number one target or whatever Chelsea's position is at the moment, they're scratching around now. I mean, if they don't get him or anybody else in, it's going to be a long old year for Thomas Tuchel.
We've talked at length, haven't we, about Barcelona needing to get players off their books. One who looks like he will be leaving is US international Serginho Dest, going to Milan, Jules.
Yes, that's right. He will arrive in Milan tomorrow for his medical. It's a loan with an option to buy of 20 million euros. I mean, again, I think he's very smart from Milan, considering how young Dest is and the room for improvement that he has in his own game. You don't take much of a risk with the loan anyway, but then you've got Florenzi at right back, and you can easily see Dest playing and having a lot of game time in that Milan team. So good for them. Xavi didn't fancy him. We knew that before. He was not going to play, and like we said before, for Neymar, this is a World Cup year. Serginho Dest he needs to play. He needs to play to get match fit. He needs to play to get the rhythm. He needs to play to improve. And I think working with Pioli at Milan in Serie A as well could help him a lot defensively, because we know that with the ball going forward, he's good. He likes doing that. Defensively, it's been a bit more of a struggle for him, especially in big teams and in big games. So I think he will learn a lot at Milan, working with great defenders, working with Pioli. This is a young team, a team that he will fit in well. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense again.
Meanwhile, of course, England taking on the US on Black Friday, Jules, and part of our master plan is not to let Christian Pulisic play, if you believe some people on Twitter from American perspective. Looking at it, he's done. He's stuck at Chelsea, eh? They're not going to let him go out on loan?
I don't think they really have an offer for him, Dan, and we've said many times on the show, if he can, he should go and play more and enjoy his football a bit more. He's not happy. We saw that again at Southampton on Tuesday night, where he walked off the pitch without going to to clap the fans like the rest of the team. He was not happy, I think, to be a sub. He was not happy and should not have been happy by the comments that Thomas Tuchel made on Monday, saying basically there's no competition in these squads. If you're Christian Pulisic, this is not good for you. You can't be happy with that. So I can understand why he's not happy. However, if there's no offer for you, no one is coming for you, then you have to stay and fight for your place. Right now, he's not in the state of mind to be fighting for his place. And again, this is not good for anyone. It's not good for him, not good for Chelsea either.
It's turning into a nightmare, Stevie.
Well, listen, I think it seems to me that he's waiting a bit long to get away. As soon as Raheem Sterling was signed, or as soon as there was noise that Raheem Sterling was coming to Chelsea, if I'm him, I'm on the phone to my agent and get me out of here. Because that's where he is. I think his best position is coming off the left. And so when you're signing a guy whose best position is coming off the left, guess what? So I think Christian and his advisors should have moved it a little earlier.
Right.
It seems like they haven't. If they have, then I'm sorry, but his agents haven't done a good job for him. Put it that way.
Do you agree, Craig?
Well, I'm wondering if that was his agents touting about the stuff we saw a week or two ago about Man United, which doesn't seem to have reared its head, and it was a bit of a head scratcher as well at the time. But yeah, no, I've said for a long time he needs to go and play. He's not going to. There's no point in him. People saying, oh, he's going to go to last year. Oh, Liverpool are interested. Oh, this team. He needs to get away from this, going to these teams that are challenging for those elite positions.
Where's his level? Which team would you say is about where he should be playing?
I am thinking like a Newcastle,
right?
A West Ham.
Okay.
We saw Jesse Lingard go in there last year and do a terrific job. They've just signed Paqueta, who's a terrific player. Jules was touching on him earlier in the show. Somewhere I'm scratching my head. I mean, you don't want to be going somewhere, with all respect, like Southampton, who've had some great results, but they're a selling club. I don't know, Stevie. I mean, when Everton are in a better position than they are, that kind of club.
It's difficult to put your finger on it because he's never had an actual run of games where you can say, right, this is where he is.
Right.
So we don't really know. You know, he's not had 10 games straight where he's got some form together and you can go, right, this guy deserves to be at Chelsea or this guy deserves to be at Southampton, whatever. We don't really know because we haven't seen a consistent run of form. We know what he can do at his best, but unfortunately we also know that he gets injured quite a bit.
I think somewhere
it's tough to pick it.
I think a team like, you know, when they were on the up, like Leicester City, for me, somewhere perfectly at him with a manager who sometimes plays on the counter-attack. They got people like Harvey Barnes, who's quick, Ayoze Perez, all these other guys that come in. What's his name? That came in from Villa, puts the ball in the box, the lad. I can't remember his name. He's been there a while. You know, run up and down the wing. That kind of thing, I think, would be a perfect standard for him.
Right.
Where he's probably going to play 90% of the games, if not more. When you're moving to these clubs at the top end of these leagues, the chances for him of getting regular game time are diminished a lot.
Well, of course, it will be revealed on Thursday as to whether or not he will remain a Chelsea player as the window closes. And to keep up to date with all the latest and what will be an extraordinary busy day. Oh, Stevie, how are you going to sleep tonight? It's exciting. Go over to the website and click on Transfer Talk. Speaking of excitement, be sure to check out the latest edition of Extra Time over on our YouTube channel as Stevie introduces us to a very special guest. Not only midweek games in England and France, but also in Italy as well. Taking in the results from today, Juventus with a 2-0 victory over Spezia. Meanwhile, Napoli, after a good start to the season, more drop points to them as they could only manage a 1-1 draw against Lecce. 2 more games for you on Thursday. Let's remind you how things stand. And after that 3-0 victory against Monza, it is Roma that remain top of the table. Jose Mourinho's side 1 point clear of Inter. La Liga continues this weekend and it's all about Saturday. What a triple header we have for you. Real Madrid against Real Betis, followed by Real Sociedad against Atletico Madrid. And to wrap things up, it's Sevilla against Barcelona, as they are every week, every single game available on ESPN+. That's it then. That brings us to the end of today's show. It is transfer window deadline day tomorrow.
wait.
Be sure to join us. We'll be live with you.
Can't wait.
6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus, reflecting as well, of course, on Leicester against Manchester United. But be sure to stay tuned now because extra time is next. Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Thank you as always for your tweets. Craig and Stevie here with us here in the studio. Jules and Shaka joins us as well to answer your questions. Before we get to those though, Stevie on digital, you're home alone, aren't you, Stevie?
What could go wrong?
So what could possibly go wrong? When you're
Where they go, where they
Very
start.
professional. Hey! There's Haggis.
There's me pal.
Oh, brilliant. And then in the middle of it, Stevie goes, can you see Haggis? Can you see the big 80-pound dog behind me?
He must have thought he's talking nonsense.
Yes.
I'm having a bit of this.
Very much so.
I wasn't wrong.
Oh, man. You've got 3 dogs. Yours has never made an appearance.
No, they're under control.
Right, I see. There you are.
Well,
Stevie.
he's obviously left the big fella lounging around.
Yeah, roaming around.
And he's thought he's going to get away with it.
Definitely not.
No, what happened was he hadn't had his walk.
Oh, why not?
Well, because I forgot I was doing digital.
Oh, no. It's all falling
I
apart.
couldn't take him out before it.
Right.
And until he has his walk, he's a pest.
Okay.
You just don't leave you alone.
Right.
And I couldn't, because it's just me and him, I couldn't put we've got the gates.
What time was digital?
If I put the gate up,
What time was digital?
10 o'clock. If I put the gates
Oh,
up,
it's lunch by then.
you would have heard them. He would have been crying,
Oh, I see.
and moaning and barking.
So you took a gamble, didn't pay off.
So I took a gamble, gave him a bit of a treat.
Yeah.
Thought I'll be all right.
There you are.
And then,
Oh, no.
You seem to have moved your studio.
Yeah, why are you downstairs with the digital? With all
He
the
likes to
all the stuff behind?
variation. He likes variation.
oh, wasn't I was in the.
No, but normally you got all your books
Yeah,
and your trophies.
Your cupboard, your
Yeah.
Well, that's because I was in the basement.
I see. Why were you in the
best
basement?
place for you.
Because it was too dark.
Oh, no.
That's cool.
Anything else you want to know what's going on in my house?
Well, it's just everyone's interested, Stevie. So the gamble with the dog didn't pay off, and the gamble with me looks a bit dodgy. Stevie, still confident about your bet with Dan? You might want to start saving up. How much are you going to love if this doesn't happen?
Yeah, but I mean, it's not been a good start for me, is it?
Well, Arsenal are
Let's be honest.
perfect, so
Arsenal are
it couldn't
perfect.
have been worse.
So, no, I'm just glad that you're sitting there with that stupid little smirk
Right.
every time Arsenal win, right, just now.
Yes.
But yeah, there'll come a time, your day will come.
Think about it could have been worse. Because if Lukaku had stayed at Chelsea and he started banging the goals in,
Yeah.
Oh, I'd rather have that.
you'd had to have done something.
No, I'd rather Lukaku.
Moved,
bang goals.
emigrated,
Yeah, definitely.
something, I don't know.
Craig, what's more like...
What was it? What was it, somebody talking to you in your ear there?
Yes.
Because you
I know he was doing that
You were
with
doing
his
that.
head.
Yes, because I missed the first question. I was so excited because to get to me winning a bet, I missed the first one. And then I produced saying, don't bother with that first one now. So
By
that's
the way-
out the window.
I think it was 86. Man United went the first 10 games. They won 10 games in a trot.
Yep.
I think they were.
So who are you supporting this weekend? United Arsenal on Sunday?
Oof, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
I think I'll settle for a draw.
Right, okay.
I think I'll settle for a draw.
What's more likely, Craig, this season? Arsenal going unbeaten
That's
or,
not- no.
or Haaland scoring 55 plus goals?
It's more likely that Haaland will score 55.
Yeah. Yeah, I think...
It's- yes, 100%.
Someone suggesting you said he wasn't going to get 30.
Oh, bad start to the year.
I'm not
make up some nonsense, by the way.
Is that on tape?
Well, wait, I tell you what, you know what they do, you know what they're like? Whether it's
with
a
their
digital or whether it's you, you start throwing questions out and then it's, oh no, but I meant all competitions. Or,
Right.
Then,
You're
oh
gonna
no, I
have-
meant Premier
listen.
League. You're like,
Maybe you're going to have to stop these hot takes.
oh, seriously.
Oh, my goodness.
Ask the dog, honestly.
Ask Haggis.
Ask Haggis.
What's more likely, Shaq? Arsenal unbeaten, Haaland 55?
I don't think Arsenal goes unbeaten at all. And while 55 is a stretch, I think it's far more reasonable.
Jules, it's Julian Alvarez, the most underrated striker in the world right now. Well, he's not underrated, is he? He's playing at City. Got 2 goals today.
I mean, Yeah, he's an Argentinian international. He's going to go to the World Cup. I don't know who underrates him, but not us. For sure, we've said what a very clever signing he was from day one, really. 17 million from River, where he had such a great reputation, where he was doing so well. And then again, he's not going to score 2 goals every single game, but so far he's taking it in his stride. The game time that he has, making the most of it, whether he plays wide or more centrally. And tonight was a good opportunity for him against Forest in a team like this, so dominant from City. So well done to him. There's still a long way to go to really establish himself in this team, but so far it's been a lot of positives.
Tell you what, somebody will sign him soon. Where do we get these questions?
Jules, is Neymar back to his best? Early signs indicate that the Qatari owners and that Mbappe is now the new poster boy have pushed him to fight to be his best.
And certainly it's a very good level that he has. We mentioned before that he came back from holidays earlier, which obviously never happened to him, and he looked sharper than he usually looks when he comes back after his holidays in Brazil in the summer. I think the fact that they tried to sell him to pretty much everyone in Europe, maybe it was the kick up the bag that he needed really to come over, okay, let's wake up now, let's show them that they were wrong to try to sell me, that they were wrong to try to get rid of me, really. And I think certainly that's the mindset that he's had so far this season. Again, a bit like what we were saying for Arsenal, they haven't really played anyone yet, apart from, I guess, the Monaco game at the weekend, and they were not very good, and he was not very good either. So, yeah, against Toulouse and teams like that, he's been really, really good. Sharp, scoring goals, the movement with and without the ball has been great. But let's wait against Juventus on Tuesday, for example. Let's see against that kind of defense what kind of Neymar we see. But certainly the signs have been really positive so far, even in his own attitude. So that's been very good.
And
yes,
we were watching on Sunday, weren't we? And Neymar took the penalty.
He did take the penalty.
Does that mean this circus is closed for business at this moment in time?
Let's ask PSG TV. Jules?
Yeah, I mean, PSG TV says that, yeah, Craig is right. For now, at least, the circus is not on. It's, it's off duty. And then Mbappe kindly kind of let Neymar take the pen and avoid any sort of controversy. So, I don't know. With PSG, he might always come back, but certainly at the moment, things are looking pretty good.
Didn't Gaultier come out and say that Mbappe was his number one, Jules?
Yeah, but he also said that they are intelligent guys, so they can discuss it between them. And if one is happy to let the other one take it, that's fine. It's the way it should be.
Shaka, will Newcastle be a problem for the Big Six since they are a threat to everyone?
Yeah, I think this Newcastle team, especially if everybody's fit, I spoke about Sir Maximan on the show, they'll be a threat. I think they threaten the top 6. At the very least, and you've seen that already against both City and now Liverpool.
Decent squad. I mean, San Maximin, Gomares, Wilson, they were all out. I mean, they've got some decent players. I mean, they're not obviously, and I don't.
Isak took his goal well, and the second one as well.
No, he took his goal brilliantly. I mean, the second one I thought he unfortunately was offside, but I thought that was an even better.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, he dropped Robertson on his backside, who was coming in, then he dropped the shoulder again inside Gomez and finished it in the roof of the net again, just to be given offside. So that's encouraging for him, just from a confidence perspective. But if you're looking at other teams, if you're looking at Man United, if you're looking at West Ham, if they get going, teams that might be pushing for that 6th or 7th, why would Newcastle be feeling an inferiority complex to those kind of squads?
If they play with that mindset for the whole season, then they'll get enough points.
Well, why wouldn't they?
But the way it played against Man City at home as well.
Well,
particularly in the first half.
It's kind of it's like a cavalry charge a lot of the time.
Okay.
And it's tough to do that for 9 months. And certainly if you lose some of your players as well, some of your better players, your difference makers, then the attitude can go a different way. But right now it's just, who cares? They don't care who they're playing. They just want to go and play.
Trippier's off free kicks now as well.
Yeah, I know.
PSG.
Rubbish.
It's a PSG going into Newcastle. After he's won in the top corner against City.
Yes. Yep.
That was garbage today.
Yep.
From him, he's off.
Who gets fired first, Craig? Tuchel or Rodgers?
Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, I might be wrong, but I don't see anything imminent for Tuchel.
No.
I might be wrong. But I think there's rumblings at Leicester with his discontent with the recruitment and the financial backing this summer, which was clearly needed. When you saw last year, there was a few people last year, idiots, going, Rodgers is done. He's a good coach. What they had to do was go away, have a look at the squad. Obviously didn't want to lose Fofana, and he doesn't want to lose Tielemans and one or two others, but have a look at what you've got and then go and sort of rebuild it and rejig it,
sure,
and get back to being that team that can challenge the top four, win the FA Cup. But they haven't done that. They seem happy to let people go, and they kind of go, oh yeah, won't we go to this country and get you a sort of cheaper version? That's not going to last, so I feel he's going to be in a world of pain soon.
It does seem a strange thing to do if you're the coach or the manager, whatever you want to call it. You're sat bottom of the league with 1 point. Now, whenever I was having a bad run with the Revs, I kept my head down, kept quiet, and kept out the road. I didn't go slagging off the people upstairs.
Right.
Because guess what?
Well, the crafts would have said.
They're the ones that sack you. Why you're sitting bottom of the league with 1 point, look as though you're never going to win a game ever again, and you go slagging off the people upstairs.
Well, I think contrary to Scott Parker, who was doing something similar, is Rodgers has got a lot in the bank. Okay, the last 12 months or whatever haven't been great, but I think he sees the writing on the wall.
Right.
I think he sees it coming, and I think he's trying to, the way I'm looking at it, he's just trying to protect his stock by shifting the blame here before it's too late.
That is it. Stevie, bringing Haggis in tomorrow. What's the
Is he wearing an Arsenal strip?
Well, we don't hurry on. Might have to. I mean, man's on his own. You know what I mean?
You don't wear a watch.
Yeah. And how long?
That is it. That brings us to the end of today's show. We're back tomorrow, of course, to reflect on Manchester United against Leicester, plus bring you everything you need to know on the final day of the transfer window.
Nothing.